Hey guys, Scott here with some information on the next developer update. This is going to be the patch that the new killer comes out with, I would assume anyway. So we're starting off with buffing the pig. They said it couldn't be done. In fact, they themselves are referencing the ancient meme of Nerf the pig. So these changes are great. This is pretty much everything that I wanted to see with the pig. I actually think her anti-loop is really not that bad. Her ambush, when you stack all of the add-ons that involve making ambush not bad, actually becomes kind of decent. So if we get a bunch of base kit increases to it, well, then we start seeing a killer that not only has one of the best forms of built-in slowdown in the entire game, but also kind of a decent chase power. Because a lot of the time, you could try to get an ambush at a loop, but as soon as you crouch, smart survivors might just leave the loop, so you just, end up roaring at nothing. But good pigs could basically call that bluff and then immediately uncrouch and just chase them before they can get to the next loop. So there was a little bit of a mind game there, and it was kind of interesting. But overall, this is just simply going to make ambush notably better. 2.3 seconds is a pretty sizable percentage increase. I don't know the exact percent, but 2.3 from 2 is pretty good. Basically, they're just like throwing every ambush add-on like on top of the default kit, other than the one that makes it charge faster. So I'm assuming that add-on will still exist. So with that and these buffs, you're going to have ambush that might actually not be much of a joke anymore, which is really good. I'm very excited to see that. Crouching is also made faster. I'm assuming uncrouching will be equally as fast as well, which means that leaving the loop as soon as she crouches is now more of a risk. So that's going to make, that standard just leave a loop when she crouches mind game kind of not as effective. And she was also increased, her movement speed was increased while she is crouching, which is another thing I really wanted to see, because her stealth is pretty good, but she moves so slow while she's doing it that it's like, you end up sacrificing map control for it. So a lot of people would bring something like whispers to let you know when to start crouching. But she just needed a whole bunch of things to make her okay. And by default, she was pretty not great. So love all this stuff. This stuff is all solid. The downside is the reverse bear traps now have a base timer of 3 minutes, but I actually don't mind that much because I never look at reverse bear traps as a method of killing somebody. Reverse bear traps past the absolute baby level are just meant to slow the game down. They're not meant to kill people. It's sort of just like Condemn with Sadako. As long as you know what you're doing, you should never actually get condemned. Now, what might happen is she's spreading Condemn really well, so you do have to take the tapes around and the game goes slower. But these mechanics are really not meant to kill you outright. They're meant to slow the game down. So whether this is 3 minutes or 55 minutes, I actually don't think there's much of a difference because at some point, the survivors are still going to have to get that trap off. They don't really have a choice in that. So all this does is make it so absolute babies don't die because they don't know where to go, but you still get the exact same slowdown because you still just can't leave with a trap on your head. So I don't care about this whatsoever. The aura reading of the jigsaw box as well. Basically, they're trying to make her more chase oriented and less camp a box and explode one guy's head oriented, which I am all for. The one thing I will say is I think they could go even further with the crouch movement speed. I think they can honestly bump this up to 4 and it would be completely fine. I don't know why they're so hesitant to making her crouch movement speed just the same as Survivor's. Her stealth is not great because of that. And so just making her go at least as fast as Survivor's would mean that it would be a bit less detrimental to just traverse the map while stealth and get a very easy first to dump people. Now, I understand that they wanted to not be like Wraith or someone, because that's his whole niche. But the thing is, you're not going to get like that many grabs off of a generator with this. So it's still not the big of a deal. Whenever you uncloak, you make a sheathing sound, which, it's kind of like hearing Wraith snarls or, Myers breathing or something. These are all things that let you know the killer is nearby if you're paying attention. So it's really not like OP or anything. I would love to see her crouch even faster. Basically, yeah, all I want to see is her stealth and chase way stronger and specifically fucking over one guy by blocking one of the bear trap stations. That playstyle lessened as much as possible. So they're on the right track here. I just think they can make her a bit stronger and no one's going to complain because it's pig. So, they actually did put this in the numbers. We didn't even notice. Covering 15% more ground with ambush attack, which is, good. Also, pretty significant is that missing this has been, the cooldown has been increased or reduced by quite a bit. The speed of the recovery has been increased by a lot. 2 to 1.5 seconds is a massive improvement. So whenever you actually do miss, it's not going to be as detrimental. So they want you to go for more crazy ambushes. And when you do hit, it's actually a faster cooldown now because she, for some reason, still had a 3-second cooldown, which the killer attack cooldown was reduced to 2.7 seconds ago a while ago. So she was just sort of outdated with that, so now she's up to speeds here. So overall, I like these changes a lot. I think they can go a bit further, making her a bit stronger while keeping this a bit weaker, so she doesn't have the ability to basically fuck one guy over. But this is good. Good start. I think she needs a little bit more, though. Her add-ons are getting changed too, but they're not listed here because I'm sure there's just too many changes. Hag was, for some reason, buffed. Hag is a pretty strong killer, so I'm very surprised they just default buffed Hag. So her max teleport speed is now, her teleport distance is now much farther, and her trap setting time is 0.1 seconds faster, so yeah, it's not much of really anything, but this is pretty significant. People would always run range add-ons, so that is something that is now kind of built into the base kit. Also, the traps will now last longer, and they take longer to wipe away, so just pretty much overall across the board buffs to Hag, who is already a pretty decent killer. I wouldn't say she's like, like top 5 or anything like that, but she's definitely not bad, so there are definitely killers that need buffs way more than she does. We're talking Freddy and Myers, but these are all licensed characters. I'm not sure how the process goes with buffing them, so maybe that's why they're able to do their own content a lot easier. But then again, Pig is a licensed content, so I don't know. After triggering traps, the Hag gets some add-ons which increase their trigger range. In practice, this would be counterproductive since you position survivors further away from the trap. So this is the trigger range add-ons, not the actual teleport range add-ons, and I completely agree with what they're saying here. What these add-ons would do is basically, this is like a circle. You'd have to run on the circle, and it would trigger the trap. These add-ons make the circle like this, which means you run into them from further away, which means when the Hag teleports, she's further away from you, which means sometimes she can't even hit you. So those add-ons would actually just straight up nerf you. They would make you even worse. So those have been changed to something else now. We don't know what those add-ons do yet, but I guess we will see. But other than that, it's whatever. It's nothing worthy of complaining about. I'm just surprised they picked Hag for buffs. Clown is also getting some pretty sizable buffs. The speed bonus you get from the yellow piss is now 6 seconds. And the activation time for it happening, because there's a delay before it actually becomes active, is now 2 seconds. You additionally get a additional 2 bottles, which is pretty good because you can stack that with the add-ons to get 2 more bottles. So you can be running around with 8 bottles if you want to. And they also made the distortion effect of the screen from the slowdown tonic to be less dizzying, because a lot of people got motion sickness with that. And as long as it has the slowdown, that's really all I care about. The slowdown is the important part. As long as, Flask of Bleach is still doing what it's doing, then Clown remains a pretty potent anti-looper. Strangely enough, he's one of the best anti-loopers in the game. People don't sing his praise as much because he doesn't really have anything else going for him, but his anti-loop is actually really, really strong, and your only option is pretty much to just drop a pallet early and then just play vaulting the pallet back and forth. That's kind of all you can do. So, will these make any changes to that gameplay? Not really, no. The speed boost will be a bit nice for map control, throwing it down after you kick a pallet, things like that. Other than that, though, these are just mostly quality of life issues that will make Clown a bit better, but they're not going to change his core gameplay too much, so nothing too crazy there. Doctor finally is getting what everybody... This is word for word what I wanted Doctor to have base kit, so I'm super happy to see this. Electrode base kit and then Discipline base kit. These are add-ons that you basically had to run on Doctor for him to not feel terrible. And so you pretty much just have these base kit now. Not quite as much, so you can still run those add-ons and get even more of a benefit now. But for the most part, their effects have been made into the base kit, so now you can mess around with other add-ons. This is a very welcome change for Doctor, because it felt terrible not running range or detonation delay add-ons with him. And now, since these are mostly base kit, you can mess with any of his other add-ons and give him some other crazy effects. So he's got a lot of crazy add-ons that are pretty interesting, but everyone just has to run these add-ons because they're the only ones that make him feel playable. So very good change to a frankly kind of weak killer. And again, this will make his anti-loop pretty damn nice as well without having to rely on add-ons for it. So overall, pretty great change. Doctor. Small change for Demo is attack cooldown from hitting is now 2.7 seconds instead of 3. This is more just parity with the changes they've made to killers overall, where it's 2.7 seconds of cooldown rather than 3. Basically just entering into 2024, but the rest of the killers not a big deal. Barb's Glasses and Blackheart, which affects your cooldown recovery from hitting and missing. These are going to be... Oh no, actually, Muse Guts is missing. It's for hitting a pallet and hitting a survivor. Those are what those two add-ons do. So now they're being adjusted to probably not give you even more of a benefit, but they're going to put you roughly along... Well, no. If we have these sort of base kit now, these should make you even stronger than previously. So Barb's Glasses and Blackheart Demo should actually be stronger than he currently is. I'm not sure. We'll have to see exactly how that works. We don't know what they change it to, but that's fine. The less add-ons that are required to run and not feel terrible, I'm all for. Huntress strangely gets a buff too, and I never really felt that Huntress was weak or anything like that. Huntress is a pretty darn strong killer, one of the best campers in the game. Honestly, the best camper in the game right under Leatherface. So Huntress is pretty damn solid, and now she's getting her infantry belt base kit, so she has 7 hatchets by default. I don't see any mentions to these add-ons, which means if you do leather loop and infantry kit, you're gonna have 10 hatchets by default, which is kind of insane. You also move significantly faster when holding a hatchet. That is a 3.5 from 3 is a very, very sizable increase, and you also just get free wind-up increase as well, which is what Metagrass Braid and Flower Babushka do. Those add-ons are being nerfed a bit. I'm guessing they want these to feel not as required, but see, I never felt those add-ons were required, other than like my first year playing Dead by Daylight when I ran both of them and Tinker because I was a fun guy. I never really feel like those add-ons were required much, so pretty surprising to see Huntress getting such a buff. She's already a pretty darn strong killer, and these are all just straight up pure numerical buffs. So I mean, sure, I'm as a killer, I'm all for it. I'm not sure if that's going to go well with survivors, but we'll see. But again, nothing so crazy worthy of complaining. It's just like, oh, that's interesting. Blight, they changed the compound 33 rush limits to 3 because it was 2. Very minor change. Hopefully this will be the last time they change one of the iridescent add-ons for the 77th time. Mangled. I was really worried what they were going to do with Mangled, but I think I'm okay with this change. I was worried they were going to make the effect of Mangled lessen, but because Mangled doesn't really do that much. It adds like 4 seconds to a heal. It's really not that crazy. It's when you combine it with Mangle and Hemorrhage, like with Sloppy Butcher, then it starts getting annoying because you could devote, 15 seconds to a heal, get interrupted, and lose all of it in 3 seconds. And it's like, oh, that feels terrible. But they went a different way with it. They basically made it so it only lasts a minute or a minute and a half. How much of a buff or nerf is this? Pretty significant in my opinion. This is a pretty significant nerf to Mangled. Because what's going to happen now is a lot of the time survivors are going to just simply spend that 60 to 90 seconds just doing gens, knowing that after that's done, their heal is going to be much faster. Again, not so much of a difference, especially if you're getting healed by somebody else. Self-care does make it way slower. But I think what's going to happen is this might actually incentivize survivors to start repairing things while injured when they might not have done that. Now, against a killer like Wraith or Myers or, Ghostface or something like that, that's a bit of a risk because those killers are really good at getting early initial hits. So there's the trade-off there. Will this have a huge drastic effect? No, I don't think so, but it is a noticeable nerf, giving that end goal to know that you will run out of Mangled as long as you just stay alive for that amount of time means, yeah, people will probably end up doing gens faster, but they also might go down faster too. So overall, not so much of a complaint or a change here that it's worthy of complaining about. Kind of like everything else on the list. It's just like, okay, interesting, but whatever. So it should be fine. I don't really run Mangled much at all, so I don't think it's going to affect me whatsoever. But for people that run Sloppy Butcher and stuff like that, it will be a noticeable nerf. One that I'm not really sure that it needed, but I'm also not super opposed to it too, so whatever, we'll see. Some other Bloodweb improvements. In a previous update, we added the ability to automatically spend blood points in the Bloodweb to ensure that newer players took the time to familiarize themselves with the items in their Bloodweb. This button was originally hidden until the character had prestige at least once. Since this feature was added, we've received many requests to show out this button to other characters before the prestige, so we're doing just that. Now it is there by default, which, good. I mean, there's pretty much no reason it shouldn't be. When a survivor presses that button one time, they're going to see what it does and go, oh, I'm a baby that has, I'm not a baby that has 0 object permanence. I now know what this does. If I don't want that to happen, I'm not going to, click it again. Very easy. You might lose, 30,000 blood points on one web. Very inexpensive lesson. But that's overall it. A lot of killers getting buffs that are not necessary, but sure, why not? And a lot of killers getting buffs that were pretty damn necessary. The standouts are going to be Pig and Doctor getting all that stuff base kit. Those are the most sizable improvements. Everything else is just nice quality of life stuff. I would say Huntress is pretty solid too because the increase in movement speed while holding a hatchet makes taking out a hatchet at some loops to be it's less of a risk. So yeah, overall I'd say no major complaints. A lot of good changes here. Some questionable, but in my opinion, no real bad changes. It's either all neutral or good. So pretty solid patch. And I guess we'll be checking this out tomorrow with whatever the new crazy ass looking killer is. That's gonna be it. Thanks for watching.